What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. We're back at it again with the next video for Might and Magic Elemental Guardians. Today we're going to take a closer look at the 3 starting units in this game, and then we're going to hop into Floating Islands as I want to kind of talk about just my experience when I first got started leveling up, and hopefully it can help you guys kind of progress forward, okay? As you guys know, the 3 units are going to be 3 of the different archetypes. We have our Air Stone Guard, which is our defender or a tank. We have the Air Nymph, which is going to be our support or our healer. And then we have the Young Fire Griffon, which is our attacker. So we're going to take a look at all 3 of those, okay? Let's start out with the Earth Nymph. Again, if you guys didn't see the previous video, all of the creatures in this game are going to start out with a basic skill. There's not going to be anything specific about it, not until the unit gets evolved, okay? But the second skill, though, we do have a chance to paralyze a unit, basically stunning them, a 35% chance to stun. So anytime that we have any kind of way of basically stopping the opponent, right, not giving them a turn is obviously really, really nice. And then, of course, the next skill here is a really unique heal. It blends both a just flat stat, like a flat heal, and a percentage-based heal off their max HP. So this is kind of nice because, again, we're going to get a lot of different units. Some of them will have higher base stats than others. So having something that's a little bit more balanced than this will allow you to use this unit for a little bit longer than expected. Now, my personal experience with this one, I actually use this one for quite some time. It is a good starting healer, but of course, we're going to be looking for something a little bit more beneficial down the road. As you guys know, this is a single target heal, which will be fine for the first starting, levels of gameplay. But of course, we're going to be looking for units that provide a little bit more sustainability for your entire party, not just, one unit or the other. Okay. So overall, though, it was a really, really good unit, and I used it for quite a long time. Okay. Let's go to the Air Stone Guard. Now, this is going to be your first tank again. This one, just the basic attack. The second one, we're going to be doing damage based on our own defense, and then we're going to decrease the attack for 2 turns. So I am pretty excited about this. I was actually quite surprised how much damage some of the bosses do when you first got started. I don't know if you guys were the same, but it seemed to me that some parts that didn't think was going to be challenging was in fact is. So, having that attack break and, saving it for when you need it the most was pretty important. The next skill, again, needs no introduction when it comes to tanks, right? Attacks all enemies with attack increase based on the own defense and regenerates self for 20% for 2 turns. It also has an opportunity to taunt the opponent for a 75% chance. And again, this is an AoE skill. So we have 2 different skills doing damage based on the defense, and we have an ability that's going to help you control the damage that's going to be coming at you, right? We have that AoE taunt. So again, overall, I'm really, really impressed with this unit. Obviously, we're going to talk about different types of farmers out there, ones that are really, really good. But, getting started out, this unit carried me for quite a ways. I think I got him up to level 25 max, and he was doing just fine, not only carrying my team, but also using him to farm some of the fodder early on in the game. So I've talked with people in the community that have played with me for a little bit, and even some were to mention that it got upwards of, they brought it up to 4-star and used it as a farmer if they weren't too fortunate to go ahead and do it. I mean, if they were super unfortunate. But that being said, like I was saying before, we're going to get a lot of units along the way, some 2-star ones that are going to have tons of potential. So just keep an eye out on those units that you see, because you might find something that's really, really beneficial for your team, all right? Next one that we'll move on to is going to be the Young Fire Griffon here, my first little attacker. Again, shout out to Ubisoft one time. I love the little 2-star like animals. Like they're so well done. They're so well done. This one here, we got the Fire Young Griffon, right? Basic attack, of course, attacks the enemy. His second skill, double attacks the enemy and is reusable in 3 turns. This seems kind of, like just kind of basic, but again, it is a damage dealer, so any opportunity to do double the damage, I will gladly take it. And the next skill here, we got an AoE that has a 60% chance of decreasing the speed for 1 turn. So, again, these are just the basic units that we get. And if I had to put something out there, out of all the 3 units that I got to start out with, this is the one that I really found the most valuable. It seems kind of silly because it's not like a healer or a tank, but the opportunity to provide that speed decrease is extremely important because, again, as you guys know, when it comes to turn-based, games and whatnot, it's all about the amount of speed and the order that you go into. So the more speed you got versus your opponent, the faster you'll be able to go. Having an opportunity to reduce the amount of speed on your opponent is going to give you a little bit of a turn advantage, allowing your units to go ahead and get more turn than the opponent. Now, I know that this is only a speed reduction for one turn, but again, it all adds up over the course of time. So overall, all three of these units are really great. Don't get discouraged if you weren't too fortunate to get some of the units that we'll talk about along the way. But again, these did a ton of work in the floating islands. They spent a lot of time in there, and I was really fortunate to have the success that I did early on due to the fact of this speed decrease, okay? So we'll go ahead and take a look at the floating islands, just so you guys can kind of get an idea of what I did. Now, as you can see, I've cleared off a lot of content here. I've been kind of working up the way just to get some achievements out. So when I first got started out in the floating islands, as you guys did as well, we started out with the normal stage and just kind of worked our way through the process, right? Generally speaking, when we were first getting started out, I generally just kind of go through the content to see how far I can get as I obtain the different glyphs. But one of the things that I did a little bit differently is, as I cleared through the content and collected the glyphs, I actually stayed in that area and worked a little bit so that I can get myself a few more glyphs, okay? So if you saw in my previous video, we talked about the set bonuses that you can obtain and the value of flat stat glyphs versus, percentage-based stat glyphs. In the beginning of the game, it's really not that important which one you get. The biggest thing that you can do for yourself is just to make sure that you can complete the set. So again, having these three basic units, what I would definitely recommend for you to do is spend a little bit of time in the floating islands, making sure that you can get yourself some two basic, vitality sets for each of your three units. That's going to give them a 40% bonus, each of the sets yielding 20% HP. And even though one may be an attacker or one may be a tank, any and all benefit that you can obtain to give yourself some better effective HP or better sustainability is extremely important, okay? Now, as you guys know, as we go through the stages, you will see that certain stages provide certain glyphs, right? So again, if you're looking for a specific slot, if you're looking for the hexagon or the square or the circle or the raindrop, if you want to call it, you're going to have to go for a specific stage. Now, my recommendation, if you're able to, when you're farming this, is stick to the boss stage if you can, okay? Because even though you can't see it right here, when you move into like the advanced stages, you will notice that you're going to have an opportunity to collect yourself all of the different glyphs types, right, and the slots and whatnot. So if you can get yourself to that point, it's going to make things a little bit easier for you. You can sit here and basically farm it out, get the ones you need, and then kind of go from there. Of course, if you're looking for specific ones, you can go back to the various stages that will give them to you and get it a little bit easier. As you guys might have guessed, when it comes to boss stages for some of the harder levels of the floating islands, the advanced, the nightmare, the higher you go, when you're staying on that boss stage, the better of the grade you will get on the glyph, right? As you can see right here, if you go down to some of the other ones, actually all of these ones are going to give yourself an opportunity to get the rare one, but I find more often than not that the chance for me to get myself a higher quality glyph, more often than not, I'm getting them from the boss stages, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. If you have the opportunity to farm the boss stages over the other, I definitely recommend that. It'll make things a little bit easier for you. But again, do what you can. Don't try to push the envelope and waste crucial energy, okay? Coming back out of the floating islands, again, like my personal experience, I just ran through floating islands a few times here, stayed in the normal and the advanced stages just to collect myself a couple of extra vitality. And then I kind of worked my way on through the ice caves and the volcano, not really trying to get the advanced stages of those. I basically was just going through the content so that I can clear some achievements. In future videos, we're going to talk about the current event that's going on for the next 4 weeks, right? We have ourselves an opportunity to collect ourselves a natural 4-star monster if we get ourselves like summons, right? And as a free-to-play player, the question we're going to be asking ourselves is, can we obtain that? We definitely can. It's going to be through achievements. So making sure that we are clearing the content, getting our achievements done, and getting those rewards, saving them so that we can eventually use them for summoning or refills when the case calls for it. It's going to be very, very very important, okay? Now, as I progress through the content, let's say I hit a wall in the volcano. I went back to the floating islands. And then I just kept on working on my units that I had and started working on, leveling up my fodder, my 2-star fodder, because obviously the goal in and of itself, once you get those units max, is to go ahead and rank them up so that you can get yourself a 3-star monster and then eventually a 4-star monster. One thing to point out is that we're going to be talking about 4-star monsters down the road as far as ones that are going to be really, really good for farming. Believe it or not, the Air Stone Guard actually does pretty well. It has that AoE taunt. It has that heal on the 3rd skill. So again, if you are just figuring out what you want to use early on to go ahead and level it up, if your healer and your young Griffon is already maxed out, then that's going to be a good one to use until you get something a little bit better, okay? That's pretty much going to be it for the floating islands. Again, guys, the biggest thing that I want to just point out for you is don't hesitate to spend a little bit of time in the floating islands. Get yourself some vitality sets. Make sure that you get 2 sets for each of the units that you have so that you can get the 40% bonus and just get a nice little boost in your stats overall to allow you to push forward. I know there's going to be a lot of other stuff that's going to be very enticing for you. You want the Dragon Mess Islands. You're like, let me get into the Glyph Dungeon. Let me get some of the other stuff. But honestly, it's all about consistency and being efficient with what you have. So making sure that you take the time to farm just some of the basic sets to improve your overall stats will make things definitely easier for you down the road, okay? That's going to be it, guys. Again, this is just an introductory video for some of the people that are getting started out. As you progress through the content, again, don't be afraid to go back, do some of these advanced stages or even nightmare stage in the floating islands, as those basic sets are going to provide you more value than you can imagine, all right? That's going to be it, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's your boy Childish of ChildishPlays checking out. Take care, and we will see you all in the next one. I'm out.